go. Hello, everybody. Today is September 29th. This is the Kubeflow bi-weekly Model Registry meeting. So for anybody who has joined and for everybody who is watching the recording on the YouTube channel. As usual, just a friendly reminder, we update the meeting recording of the past editions in the Kubeflow community YouTube channels. There is a playlist of all the Model Registry recording. So if you would like to catch up on what was discussed in an agenda item, typically what I suggest everybody is like if there was an item in the agenda that you are curious, the agenda is more the synthesized version, and then people can dig into the recording by using the playlist. This meeting is being recorded, indeed, to put it also later in the YouTube channel, and is governed by the CNCF Code of Conduct. So we have a few agenda items that we can go through. So I will go through in order, but in everybody, please let me know if you'd like to have more details. So one of the agenda items that we need to keep tabs on is about the Kubeflow graduation activity. As I mentioned last time, indeed, we have the Kubeflow community has raised the TOC request to graduate the Model Registry, as well as the other 5 for a total of 6 Kubeflow projects. So this is the graduation tracker. You can follow up any sort of like activity that is going on. Most of the activity is indeed completed. So now we are pending for some also, how to say, help with CNCF ambassadors in order to proceed on this graduation step. There are a few links if you'd like to promote the content on social media like LinkedIn. This will be really great. As part of that, so we will progress on the graduation activity as we receive any feedback from the talk. One important thing to take in mind is that as part of that, we onboard some checks. One of them is the fossil asset scanning. So we are using this button to keep tracks every time that the asset scanning activity may fail. It has actually occurred to me a couple of times during these couple of weeks. So I'm checking if this is going. One thing that we added are the scorecards. So in addition to the OpenSSF best practice badge, you will find that on the repo, there is another badge for another scorecard here. So for example, here we see that we've bumped on the result actually. I'm pleased to see that it's bumped to 9.0. I think that last week we were at about 8.5. So this is indeed another activity that is not strictly required as a check mark in the graduation activity, but we receive feedback from the security audit company in order to implement it. We have done some changes in the repo accordingly to that. And as part of this graduation activity as well, we have a due diligence to produce SBOMs. So we've merged a PR that starts to produce SBOM for the container image that we are shipping, and that work will also continue in form follow-ups PR. Here, nothing to be mentioned at this time, any sort of like action item that we need, beyond the fact that typically we have these additional checks in place that we will need to comply with. Is there anybody that has any questions or feedback or comments that we'd like to share? Otherwise, the only sort of like how to say, spoiler that we received from the report from this security audit company is that of the 6 projects, we are the one that scored the highest level on this scorecard. So take it also as a good feedback on the great work that the team and contributions are doing here. Now, moving on to other items, we received an outreach request. So there is a Kubeflow as well outreach kind of like activities and team that we need sometimes to support. The request has been the following: high-level upstream update for Model Registry, high-level bullet points and some graphic where possible by the end of this week, because we would these people would like to highlight any new features and upcoming features in the KubeCon NA. So to do so, I prepared a couple of slides loosely based on the, how to say, on the slide that typically we do during the Kubeflow releases, so during the main Kubeflow releases, highlighting the model registry with the UI, since this is one of the deliverables done during Kubeflow 1.10, with the capability of the UI themselves, then the current case serve integration that we have in place, namely the CSI, the inference service reconciler, and the model car OCI packaging integration. And then I've added a second slide that goes more specifically in the model catalog and UI with the capabilities, what is the role of a model catalog, and the storage integration, that is the modification to the model registry Python client to support the packaging, and then registration in addition to storage that went on through the Python client, for as well as the storage job that is being currently worked on. The slide is open for comment. I would prefer not to open it for editing, simply because I'm afraid that if this link is get circulated in the wide internet, people will go in and I'm not sure what I'm going to write. But anybody, please feel free to comment on the slides. Can somebody maybe please confirm me if they can access the link? So just to make sure. And I'm sharing it also in the slide chat in addition to the meeting notes. So it's like if anybody has, okay, I see, and some people can access. So if you have any comments or update and feedback, we can add more slides if needed. I will keep it as short and synthetic as possible. But please let me know. We will need somehow this to be done, I would say, during this week, because then this will give the time for people to consolidate this material as they will need. Is there anybody that would like to comment on any of these slides or comments, some early comments, anything? So just to recap, what I put down is model registry UI, the capabilities of the UI, the key service integrations, the model catalog, the use cases for the model catalog, and the UI of model catalog, as well as the storage integration. Anything that I might have been missing and actually we need to revise. For example, I didn't put the MLMD removal, although this is a big feature. It's more for an internal work. So sort of like in a KubeCon on stage, I don't think that it resonates with the audience. Though it was one of the greatest work. So thanks again, Alessio. So please don't be offended if I didn't put it on the slide.
Yeah, how far back does it go since we did the last release?
So what I did is that I mainly picked up all the deliverables for the Kubeflow 1.10. Mm-hmm. So these would have been model registry UI, the capabilities of the UI. Then I've added reconcile loop here, reconciliation, and this highlight. So the thing that we had for the Kubeflow 1.10 were mainly these one. We highlighted the cassette storage initializer, and we mainly sort of like stop it there. I think I can go and pick the slides that we used then.
Okay.
But we didn't definitely have any model catalog thingy.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I have the slides here. So model registry, what we did end up for the Kubeflow 1.10 were only this, but only this. And we had a call out for the Kubeflow UX sort of like survey that now it's done.
Got it. Okay. All right. Thanks. Yes.
To you. So it's like Paul, I put a comment here. Please let me know if you'd like to highlight some use cases or anything sort of like technically about it. I think it will be a great addition. And thanks also as well earlier earlier header for giving me the screenshot. I just did some small cosmetic stuff. Cool. Moving on. Then next item, if there are any questions, also please, people feel free to let me know towards the end. So there was a thread in the Kubeflow experiments cap about some naming for the project, which I would say some people sort of commented whether a rename for the project Kubeflow Model Registry itself was appropriate. So in order not to lose track of it, what I did is that I raised the draft cap. This is linked in the meeting notes, but also I will share the links here. So it goes, I will set the link in the side chat. So it goes into the details about what has been discussed in the community at large so far, and proposes several options for renaming, trying to keep it as minimal as possible, while highlighting why, sort of like what's the difference between a catalog and a registry, and sort of like what are sort of like the user story that we want to keep, that we want to highlight, any proposals that I've been keeping tabs on the different threads, and everybody is also free to add their own suggestion. So this is a cap that I've raised so that we sort of like can pull the comments from the community, so including everybody on this call, of course. So in case, please just don't hesitate to go ahead. You can, as usual, you can read the cap, suggest anything changes here if you think that are meaningful, but also it sort of like if you reflect in the content that this cap proposes, you are also free to add your name, your suggested name. You can add something here as you prefer, as usual. Is there anybody that want to offer a comment or suggestion here on this topic?
Matteo, should you vote for the name on this thread when you approve, or just approve for now?
I would say for the moment, the reason is that I don't want to potentially use a new system for voting that is a bit complicated. So my idea is that people can contribute their name at this stage on the cap, or say, hey, it's like, yes, I like the cap and I don't have an idea for the name just yet. Adding a comment to the PR would help us measure the interest of this in the community. So even if you just want to support it, I think it's good. Once we receive the feedback, we can decide whether it's appropriate to use this PR as a voting medium, or it's more appropriate with the Kubeflow community to have another survey. My suggestion is that the preference that I would have at this early stage would be to vote directly on the PR if we receive enough feedback, so that we don't distribute the pool at large of users who have not tried the model registry.
Mm-hmm. And the second question, do you need to do this before the graduation, or can we name after the graduation?
No, there is no link to the graduation request. In fact, my preference would have been to just say raise this point or talk this point after the graduation. Okay. Not to confuse it, but I received comment that.
So we can rename later, right?
That will be my preference. So
yep.
Because I don't want to send a reason for anybody on the talk to sort of
makes sense. Yeah, but do you think we can, after graduated, we can rename the project?
Yeah, as usual, because the project matures, so it's like and the point is that this renaming is not like for something that doesn't sort of like the name is meant more to reflect the
scope.
Yeah.
Perfect. I will take a look on this.
All righty, so everybody, please feel free. Any other comments? Okay, so we can move on to the next item. I think that Mike, you are on the line if you want to speak to that.
Sure, thanks. I just wanted to give a quick check-in on the current status of the Model Registry UI development. So we have been kind of in anticipation of the model catalog functionality that Matteo showed on outreach slides. We've done some enhancements to the existing Model Registry UX for a kind of consistency of look and feel, with a little bit of a visual refresh with card containers. And along with that, we've taken advantage of that design to kind of add some convenience where there's visibility of the parent model, description and labels and properties on the version details page, and the visibility of the latest versions in a card on the model overview page. A couple other minor things like that are just kind of make it a little easier to see and navigate. And then to integrate with the catalog, there's registered from links to the model catalog. So if you're looking at a model in the catalog and you register it to your registry, you'll be able to go and link back to where it came from in the catalog. And then we've integrated the model catalog API with the UI. That catalog page is not yet fully ready for release. It's available in standalone mode, but not yet in the Kubeflow central dashboard. There's a few things to tighten up there, but we've made major progress on that. And those two features are pretty well integrated now. So yeah, we've been pretty happy with our progress on that. And I will hopefully have more to share soon. I think I'm going to try to have a recording on one of these meetings fairly soon.
No worries, and thank you very much, Mike. Much appreciated the work, your work and the work of all the team on this topic. Does anybody have a question for Mike? Or
Yeah, my only recommendation for you, Mike, is if you can create an issue on the GitHub to integrate the model catalog in Kubeflow, because in the past we have more people than just the Model Registry team.
Yeah,
because we need to set up the catalog there. I need to talk with Paul to figure out the name of the service, the right name of the service. We need to send a pull request together to update the Kubeflow manifests to set up everything. So if you can create an issue, I think more people can help.
Yeah, I can do that. I'll reach out to you for a little bit of the detail.
Yeah,
I'll do
because
that.
I did on the past that with Lucas.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think that as well, if you can link it, please, to this issue, because we still have the topic about sort of like the default, sort of like how you call it, the default model registry instance to the Kubeflow manifest. So I'm not suggesting to use this ticket necessarily, but if you can make the link, it will make the work much easier, because this is a part of the 1.11 roadmap that we're giving tabs on.
Do we have a date for this roadmap, for this release?
No, because the Kubeflow 1.11 has been paused due to the priority of graduation. So we said that we don't have a date for 1.11, but we're keeping it as part of, say, our charter.
Okay.
Matteo, do you mind dropping the link to that issue in the meeting chat just so I can grab that?
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you.
And indeed, just feel free to open any issue as required. My only suggestion is that if you can link it, then it will make a little bit the life easier for me later on.
Yep. Yeah, I'll do that.
Much appreciated. Thank you so much. Any other comment for Mike's point? All right, cool. Moving on. Eder, I think that you have the next item.
Yes, this because I talked with you on the private, Matteo, that there is something that we should improve on the UI, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on what the work that we should do. Because my understanding is that the same way that you run with Docker Compose the Model Registry and catalog, do you also you want to run the UI there? Is this or something else for your plan for the offline story?
So there is not like my plan, just to clarify. What we received as a request, and I think that going through the Docker Compose is one way of testing is the following. In my understanding of the Kubeflow SDK, there is a need for the sort of like running stuff without using a Kubernetes cluster.
Mm-hmm.
That means that, okay, I don't have a Kubernetes cluster where I've installed Kubeflow, but I would like to have a local experience of the Kubernetes. So this translates in turn in saying, okay, it might not be a Kubernetes cluster, but we cannot ask, say, a data scientist that to try out a Kubeflow capability needs to go through the, let me phrase it, pain of installing the old flow manifest in a kind cluster or in a minikube.
Yep.
I mean, the setup work for us as developers. So the work that Julius and the platform team is doing there is very much appreciated and is meaningful for the whole community. But for a data scientist, it's a bit too much because sort of like they do not want to learn about too much of Kubernetes, and they shouldn't in order just to try something. So the idea could be the following. We already have our capabilities as a container image. So what it means, and we don't have a dependency on Kubernetes in our project, because it's not that we are shipping an operator as part of the, say, the model registry. It's just a container image for a crude, I would say, database-backed application. And we already have, for our own developer purposes, a composer definition that already allows you to spin up that local experience. So anytime that I needed to do some work that sounds similar to that part, I can go without having a minikube, without having a kind. I can just go and spin up that compose manifest that Chris has updated to work both with MySQL and PostgreSQL. So the idea here could be that those compose files, compose manifests, pardon, are currently not encompassing the UI. And I think that we discussed with Lucas in the past, also in some other Slack threads, about the fact that to just wire the UI containers into that, it shouldn't be like a multi-month work. It actually should be better off just rewriting the container images for the UI to point to a given sort of like a registry endpoint or catalog endpoint. So here is the suggestion that I given on that conversation that you mentioned, Heather, is that while the ML experience working group defines what it means, local experience for Kubeflow, I think it could be a great addition, not only in that context, but in general, that these compose manifests that we have are also augmented with the UI containers, because you're already shipping the images. So that could be a great, easy, I would say, step that, I don't know, 1 week of work max. That could give already some benefit in the terms of the Kubeflow local experience, but also in general for self-as developer that we would like to try. Now, this is not the only way that we can tackle that ML experience goal. I think that, anytime that somebody spoke to me about that, I've asked, okay, we should interact with, I understand that also you're a representative of that working group. So we should open a dialogue with the ML experience working group to fully understand what are the requirements over there. But in my view, one easy way to have a quick win already is that, if we accept that the computer that this data scientist is running has already a form of a Docker desktop installed or a Podman desktop installed, and we orchestrate from a Python function just the execution of those compose files, so that data scientist doesn't actually need to know how compose works. We execute the process for them. I think it could deliver already a great benefit. Again, just to clarify, I don't think that this is the only way that we can tackle that point, but I think that is a good way to put something in front of this already to gather the feedback. Because it's like the alternative will be to say, okay, how do we package a binary as part of, say, Python wheel? And it will open, again, a longer discussion that we will need to identify which are the target architecture, which are the target platform. Is Windows, for example, in the target platform? distribute that type of software with, a Windows environment typically is locked in. While instead, if we sort of like, we offload the burden of the requirement of the computer to say the data science installation to say, hey, you can install Docker Desktop. You don't need to know how to use it, but you just have to install that or Podman Desktop as well. So once you have the container runtimes running, we can orchestrate the compose for them. We rely on a platform that is not Kubernetes. That's a suggestion.
And about the SDK to entry point, you're going to do like in Python something dot start, and this is going to start the behind the scenes document report. This method should be in Model Registry SDK, right? Initially.
I would say, I think that we can have in the Python client that we have already a function that calls out to that to say, hey, start a local cluster. I think that is one option, but at the moment, what I would like to focus on as a first step, more than thinking how do we do the thing with the bells and whistle, is to say, we already have the manifest of Docker Compose files. Let's add the UI image. Let's go to the ML experience working group and say, is this acceptable? Because if that is not acceptable, then we will need from the ML experience working group, then a clarification about, okay, we understand no Kubernetes, no kind, no Minikube, nobody's speaking about that one. But if Docker Compose is not a valid pre-requirement, sorry, if Docker Desktop is not a valid pre-requirement, if Podman Desktop is not a valid pre-requirement, what are the system, what are the platform requirements that we must satisfy? Because, it's like this project is done in Go and it's already shipped as a container image. So reusing that one to me is a win. If that is not acceptable, then we will need to, have a dialogue on how to achieve it.
We need to have the same answer also with the pipeline group. Because right now we are starting with, I'm talking about with the machine learning experience group, we start with KO, and KO has dependency on the Kubeflow pipelines. Right now, you are running Kubeflow pipelines with kind. But this is, as you mentioned, is not acceptable for the data scientists. We need to sort out a better way to do this for the local experience.
Let me say, what to say, I think that pipelines have a bigger, sort of like as a stronger struggle there, because sort of like it's not as simple as shipping a container image as part of a local experience, because they take something, they produce an Argo workflow, so you need a way to. I'm sorry for them in a way, but like say, we are not in that. We are not in that bucket. We are in the bucket that we have application that we can run. It's a good way to start, and then we can discuss what's the rest, I think.
All right, I work on this.
Does anybody have other additional feedback that would like to add to Eder while we have him here? Oops, sorry about that.
No worries. It's just to go to my mail. This will appear on my mail.
Yeah. Sorry, I just resolved it, so you will need.
It's fine. It's fine. No. I already popped up on my mail already when I did that, so it's fine. Thank you.
Apologies, I thought it was a comment. All right. No other comments for Eder on this topic. Anybody that would like to have to complement on the thing? Sounds like a great step ahead, and then it's like we can indeed have a more conversation based on sort of like a feedback on this topic. Thank you so much, Eder. I don't see any additional item to the agenda. So I don't know, I'll use this time now to ask if there is anybody new to the community that would like to introduce themselves. Okay, or anybody that have any last minute agenda item that were not added into the agenda. Going once. going twice. All right, just a reminder, say for the, if I may, to anybody who is listening in, I have a couple of homeworks that I would like for people to consider. One is adding to the slides any comments, as we've been requested to add to go for outreach about the model registry capabilities. So the slides are open for comment for everybody. And please, you are free to add if any capability feature, functionality that I might have missed or I might not have surveyed, or any phrasing of the thing that is missing. So that is one item that should be very high level, and I would really appreciate anybody's comment. There is a cap for considering the project rename to be more adherent to what is our current work. That is cap 907. There is a link here. And then it's like if you have any comments for the other efforts on this UI integration, please, everybody, feel free to add it to the conversation. You can do with using GitHub issues, Slack as usual, the CNCF Slack as usual, or any other mediums as you may face it. All right, so that was for the assignment, if I may, for people contributions. And with that, I thank you, everybody. The next meetings that you might want to keep tracks of is the Kubeflow community that runs every Tuesday. So next Tuesday, so tomorrow, is going to be a community meeting, community. We had the graduation call last week. And with that one, I thank you for your contribution and your attention, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.